Welcome to September. September, of course, means Labor Day, which is when this is being recorded, but I'm laboring on Labor Day because tomorrow is the first official new release day of the month, and contains a band that has not been spoken about on this channel. Really, I'm not sure if it has been at all, because the last time that this band, Dark Fortress, had an album out, I was still just known as Cover Killer, and all of that footage is now mincemeat. It's gone. There's potential that a long time ago I re-uploaded my dual review of their last two records, but good luck finding it. There's only 1,150 other videos to choose from, so let's just stick with Venereal Dawn. Let's just speak about the album at hand. Dark Fortress is a different kind of black metal band. They're a different kind of artist in general. Most people say that I don't cover black metal a lot, and that's very true. Unlike some of my contemporaries, unlike some other individuals within this community, I feel that I really just don't have the chops whenever it comes to black metal, whenever it comes to reviewing it very well, with a lot of precision, and without feeling as though I was kind of going in circles a little bit. But with Dark Fortress, I never feel like I'm going in circles. In fact, I always feel like each and every one of their albums has caused a bit of a jump in their evolution as a band, their musical evolution, that they've always found a way to go one step further with each passing release, without really having to do that much to really shift up that which they already do very well. One thing that I've definitely noted throughout their past couple of albums, and including their new disc here in 2014, there's definitely a little bit more progression. There's definitely a little bit more, a little less of a need to focus on having everything done in 6 minutes. They're willing to expand the time and use it very well. There's definitely a bit of a storytelling concept that has just continued to morph and evolve. Because this album doesn't merely feel as though it is, a collection of 9 songs with a bonus track. It instead feels like each song is parts to a whole. And not just the building blocks of an album, but the building blocks of a story. Whenever you pick this album up, you'll see a sticker on it that kind of illuminates that fact, that these are 9 stories of redemption, regrets, pain, blah. There'll be different adjectives, modifiers being used. And it definitely makes sense. It makes sense musically and lyrically, but let's speak musically first of all. Tonally, this is a disc that is able to find a lot of great balance within contemporary comparison. If you've wondered what happened to Opeth with the last 2 releases, if you really quested and wished that they went back to the stylings of an album such as Blackwater Park, look no further than the first couple of tracks off of Venereal Dawn. Look no further. It's almost as though this band decided, well, Blackwater Park was pretty damn good. We'd really like to record a part 2. It definitely has that feel to it. There's even clean vocals within it, and these harmonic cleans are beautiful. They're very well done. And it's something that actually gives Dark Fortress a certain element of difference compared to other members of this genre field. It's something that kind of puts them in a different level, and it's probably also one that many, cult black metal fans, they listen to that, hear the clean singing, and they shrivel up like a prune a little bit. I don't know. Not my thing. I love the vocals whenever they do that. I love their ability to really transition from that to the very gruff black metal vocals, and then also to the very almost Gregorian sounding vocals. And I mean Gregorian chant. There is a very low resonance to it, a high element of bass that is focused in this voice that definitely gives it a new form of booming power. It's almost like it's all representative. Almost as though it all represents something within the story itself. And you know what? If that happens to be true, it's something that's done very well. The first and last songs on this album both eclipse the 11-minute mark. I'll repeat that. The first and last songs on this album eclipse the 11-minute mark. And they're fantastic bookends. They're wonderful bookends. I feel almost as though they wrote this song all in one, and then split it up. Not saying that you can notice any sort of continuation or that they have any sort of relation whatsoever. It's just the fact that these really do the job of bookends so very, very well that you almost want to believe that they planned this out that well, which they probably did. The tone does not waver. Any change in musicality is very direct. It has an exceptional amount of precision to it. And everything really seems to belong. There is nothing out of place. Now, within tracks 2 through 8, there's definitely a lot of stylistic shifting. You can go from that Opeth metaphor that I made to perhaps bands such as Keep of Collection or Rotting Christ. Maybe even, some could presume that they could even go into some territory of like a Septic Flesh, only without the orchestral nature. From the basic writing standpoint, this is not necessarily a band that needs to change up the way that they write, because they do that pretty damn well. Musically, you're going to hear soaring guitar work, but then at the same time, a couple of minutes later, you could hear a very psychedelic almost vibe coming from their guitar in the way in which it's very hypnotic. There's a very hypnotic element to it. It's something that slow churns easily feel like you're listening to perhaps a High on Fire disc, only more geared toward black metal. And if you know what High on Fire is really good at, just look at their name, High on Fire. One of the best elements of their sound, in my opinion, is whenever they just get on a riff and just let it expand. Dark Fortress does that, but they let the whole entire composition expand. It's not just something that starts with a riff and then turns into a wall of sound. It's instead something where the collective experience is really the final end game. I am the jigsaw of a mad god right in the middle of this album. It's almost like a metamorphosis point. It's one that almost separates one side from the other, and it transitions right there in the middle of the song. One of the strongest pieces of work that I have no doubt heard from Dark Fortress, and overall, just a magnificent song, magnificent track. Maybe not even my favorite off of the album, but I understand its importance. And its power is one that speaks volumes. This is a disc that could change the game. It's one that changes the game not in the fact that it's conceptual by chance. Not in the fact that they have 2 11-minute long bookends. All the things that you see visually and all the things that kind of are presented to you are all things that have been done before. It's not as though this is the first black metal record, and it's not as though it's the first black metal record that's incorporated some of the elements that we've discussed. However, the feel, the tone, and most importantly, the execution are the elements that make this a potential game changer. It does so in the fact that it has a lot of tact. It does take some leaps, but very few. But Dark Fortress didn't really need to. They've already got a great, great style and a great sense of writing. This just feels like their most ambitious work as of yet in their career. And Dark Fortress as a band really feels like one that is continuing their evolutionary process by trying to one-up themselves, which is almost what you have to do. My question will be, how will they one-up themselves after this? Because, damn, this is an album that's going to leave this review with a hefty score. There's going to be high numbers. I'm going to actually have to give this an 89 out of 100. Not quite perfect. Not quite. At times, it feels like it lags. But that's so seldom. At times, it feels and sounds like some earlier work. I was waiting for the even fall moment. But that's so seldom as well. Everything feels original, even though, as I said, they don't need to change up much with their writing style in order to really be successful in writing a great album. It's the fact that they put in those little additions that actually makes this worth it. They're a talented core, They're talented musicians and writers. And this is an album that is put together really with the finest of care and with a lot of precision in mind. There's depth, there's density, there's diversity, and the soft piano that begins on Fever's Wings, the very final track on this album. It's one of those things where you knew, at least I did, that that last track, that all-important last track, that 11-minute and 12-second finale, that was going to command so much time of side B, was going to be worth it. And something special was going to be there. What have you guys, or what are your thoughts about Venereal Dawn? What are your thoughts about Dark Fortress? Is this a band that you know, or is this your first exposure? What's your favorite track from them? And what's your favorite track off this album? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. Because this is a group right here that should get a lot of traction based off of this disc. Because in my opinion, I feel that if you listen to it, and you listen to it hard enough, you're going to be raving about it too to all of your friends. What do you think? Let me know.